Hi, this is Sean Clinch, the host of Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast, and this episode is brought to you by our friends at Shoal Creek Saloon, your unofficial home to UT men's and women's basketball. We are quickly approaching the most anticipated Sweet 16 party every year. Who will receive invitations to that Sweet 16 party? Let's talk about it.
Coach is family to me. You know, he is one of my biggest mentors. He's been incredible throughout my career. We love each other, but we also, at the end of the day, he's super competitive. I'm super competitive. When the game starts, it'll be about our players and the guys on the floor.
March Madness, the NCAA tournament, both on the men's and women's side, it really, really presents some compelling and interesting matchups between either small, low major, mid-major versus the Power 5 programs. But it also has, March Madness provides a lot of great stories from the human element of things, such as what Texas and Tennessee. I find it odd, UT versus UT, but we're going to dive deeper into this matchup later tonight because I think it's special. That's what really draws in so many viewers, just people who normally don't watch college basketball or college sports, period, for this entire month. College basketball every weekend is something special. Great storyline. It's great marketing for programs. But before we do that, let's give a shout out to these two great businesses, beginning with Shoal Creek Saloon. If you haven't done so and you're in the Austin, Texas area, head down Lamar, very close to downtown. Visit my friends there, Ray and Brian. Early in the year when the crawfish season began, because of the drought last year, the crawfish harvest were small because of the drought in Louisiana. But now these big boys are large, which means the prices go down. So it's very affordable for a plate per pound at Shoal Creek Saloon, and a lot of fun this time of year for March Madness out on the porch, covered porch overlooking Shoal Creek here in Austin, Texas, the natural beauty of the ATX. And if there's not a seat, it's still a great place to watch March Madness, eat crawfish, and hydrate with your favorite beverage, of course, Shoal Creek Saloon. And then Honest Plumbing and Air, those guys, old school mentality where a handshake still means something. And right now, still a good time to schedule a maintenance job for your HVAC, or if you need to replace it, anything such as that, these guys will take care of it. And as far as plumbing often, we're human nature. We say, we'll get to it. We'll keep pushing off that plumbing job. But don't do it. Don't do that, because it create major issues. Guys at Honest Plumbing and Air, commission them to do the job and do it job right, and that will be fair. March Madness. You just heard Rodney Terry, the head coach of the Texas men's basketball program. They limited Colorado State in the first round to 11 points. And there's a lot of storylines of some interesting performances that really doesn't highlight the program, such as University of Virginia in the play-in game. They're absolutely terrible this year, but Texas defense on display when they limited Colorado State to 11 points. Now, Texas, the 7 seed, if you do your job, and then the seeds who are supposed to win, it naturally provides a 2 seed versus 7 seed matchup. Well, in Charlotte later tonight, the former coaching great of the University of Texas, Rick Barnes, who was let go from Texas after a great coaching career and took Texas to Final Four, Elite Eights, and just a really good coaching career. Well, one of his assistants, Rodney Terry, who's now obviously the head coach of the University of Texas when Chris Beard was let go due to that debacle over a year ago, and Rodney Terry and that program finished in the Elite Eight. Well, now he faces his mentor And you heard Rodney talk about how highly he spoke of Rick Barnes. A lot of members of this coaching fraternity are close-knit and friends. And Rick Barnes was asked about this matchup because when he first learned about Rodney was an assistant at the University of North Carolina at Wilmington, and he was offered an opportunity at OU when Kelvin Sampson was the head coach. And Frank Haith, who was on the staff at Texas with Rick Barnes at the time, told Rick, you need to pay attention to this guy named Rodney Terry.
They were friends, and he just had always talked and said, hey, if we ever get a chance to hire someone, a young guy that I think is really, really good as Rodney. But I do remember that Frank told me that Frank did ask me what would happen if Rodney took the Oklahoma job, and I just said, out of my relationship and my respect for Kelvin and I have known each other forever, I said I wouldn't do that just because of, and that was just the way I thought at that time. But then a year later, we had his opening, and Rodney was the only guy we really talked to about and hired him.
It's amazing how it all works out. I mean, I'm a firm believer in that things happen how they're supposed to, especially with faith and things. And I think we all get caught up on what we think should happen in our lives or things should happen outside of our lives. But while Rodney Terry was on the UT staff from 2002 to 2011, the Final Four in 2003, the Elite Eights finishes in 2006 and 2008. 2008, Texas ran into one of the more talented teams in college basketball history. That was Memphis at the time. But Rodney Terry was key in the recruitments of Kevin Durant, DJ Augustine, and quite a few other talents that are, playing in the NBA and still playing. But that was a great run for Texas, really was. And things come in cycles. And it's just so bizarre when you look at where people end up. Barnes has done a great job at Tennessee, and Rodney is really evolving as a head coach and becoming who he's supposed to. And by the way, Rodney's a man of his strong faith. And so the two UTs face off tonight for the right to go to the Sweet 16 in Charlotte. Will be interesting matchup, all those storylines. But in the end, when it all boils down to it, it's not about Rodney Terry and Rick Barnes. It's about Texas and Tennessee and the players on the floor. Kind of shocking here if you really look at the Big 12, obviously with 8 programs. They and the SEC had 8 programs. Big 12 kind of expected this because they're the perceived most powerful conference this season, 5-3 in games so far. Big 10, 4-2. But the SEC, highlighted by a lot of exits, including Kentucky to Oakland, the small Division I program in the Detroit area. SEC 3-5, amazing. I mean, it's really, if you think about that, I don't think many people expect that. But you know what? I thought the SEC was kind of overrated, but no one's sitting here paying for my opinion. I'm just dishing out some content here. But as for today's matchups that I think we ought to look at, some matchups which could go either way. Do not underestimate the 9-seed Michigan State because I said all along, and I think a lot of people agree, UNC, North Carolina, is the weakest of the 4 1 seeds. KU versus Gonzaga, the 4-5 matchup in the Midwest. KU, they're a good team, but they've proven they're beatable. I think they have 10 losses this year. Gonzaga is starting to peak, if you will. And Oakland says, we're not a Cinderella story. Keep an eye on us. NC State, who eliminated as the 11th seed, eliminated Texas Tech. I picked Tech all the way to the Elite 8. So I took a big hit on my bracket. And, of course, today's matchups 2-7 in the Midwest, Texas and Tennessee. These are all good matchups. So do what you will with those matchups. I hope we'll talk about brackets here shortly as we end this episode. But got to give a shout out to the UT women here in Austin. They filled the Moody Center. filled it. And they're obviously one of the 4-1 seeds in the women's NCAA tournament. And shout out to Michael Huff, the Thorpe Award winner, which goes to the best defensive back, was on the national championship team here at Texas in 2005 and played in the NFL for a long time. Mike Huff is one of those big-hearted, generous humans. When we had COVID and during the Snowmageddon event in 2021, that guy would go to food trucks and restaurants, shell out his own money just so people could go, whoever, strangers off the streets, to just walk up and have a meal. Fast forward to, what was it, Thursday. Released a video on his social media platforms, and he purchased, I believe, all of the student tickets available. And so people could just go walk up and claim their free ticket because of Michael Huff. So shout out to Huffy on another act of generosity and kindness. That's what this world needs, more of that. But the round of 32 for the women, the Texas women now face Alabama on Sunday for the right to advance to the Sweet 16. As for the podcast bracket challenge, I think me personally, not doing well, but there are 74 entries. Shout out to all of you who responded, because there's a big prize for the winner, that being a $100 gift certificate to Dirty Martin's, an iconic Austin original restaurant, gift card for $100, and the Round Rock Express, the AAA franchise of the world champion Texas Rangers. Chris Almendaris, the president of the Round Rock Express, donated his seats for one game plus dinner for 4 at the Intel Club at Dell Diamond in Round Rock. That, along with the gift card to Dirties, that all goes to the winner of the Stories Inside the Man Cave ESPN March Madness Bracket Challenge. So big prize ahead for the winner, but you have to be in the Austin area to win those. If you're not, it'll go to the second or third place winners if they're within driving distance of Austin. But as far as the bracket challenge, I think I'm in a multiple way tie for 12th out of the 71. Not out of it, but I don't think I have much of a chance. And I hope I don't win it, because I know people will be screaming it's rigged if I win those prizes. But if I do, I will donate them. That's my word right there. Hey, March Madness, always a great time. It's always beautiful. It brings families, friends together, and it's great for business. It's great for business if you have a bar or large televisions. There's a lot of places to go all across Austin, all across Texas, wherever you may be watching this. Get outside. It's beautiful. And March Madness, it's always an excuse to sit around and talk about it. Have a great day.